All right. This is a reaction to Asmongold and Zohran Mamdani's White House visit. So this is going to be interesting. This is going to be a white guy's perspective on this.
But I just want to congratulate. I think you're going to have hopefully a really great mayor. The better he does, the happier I am. I will say there's no difference in party. There's no difference in anything. And we're going to be helping him to make everybody's dream come true, having a strong and very safe New York. And congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
This is, by the way, this is a good thing.
I appreciated the meeting with the president, and as he said, it was a productive meeting focused on a place of shared admiration and love, which is New York City, and the need to deliver affordability to New Yorkers, the 8.5 million people who call our city their home, who are struggling to afford life in the most expensive city in the United States of America. We spoke about rent, we spoke about groceries, we spoke about utilities, we spoke about the different ways in which people are being pushed out, and I appreciated the time with the president, I appreciated the conversation. I look forward to working together to deliver that affordability for New Yorkers.
W.
Thank you very much. Any questions, please?
President Trump, Stephen Nelson from the New York Post. I've got a question for you and then also one for the mayor-elect. Sure. For you, you've referred to Mr. Mamdani as a communist. Could you describe why you feel that way? And also, will you do anything to stop him from arresting Prime Minister Netanyahu if he visits New York?
Oh my God!
We discussed your second part of the question, and on your first part, I mean, he's got views that are a little out there, but who knows? I mean, we're going to see what works, or he's going to change also. We all change. I changed a lot from when I first came to office. It's now quite a while ago. It's quite a while. My first term was great. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We're doing even better now. We're doing much better now than we did even the first term. And I can tell you some of my views have changed. And we had discussions on some things. I'm not going to discuss what they were, but that I feel very confident that he can do a very good job. I think he's going to be. I think he is going to surprise some conservative people, actually, and some very liberal people. He won't surprise them because they already like him.
And for Mr. Mamdani, it sounds like you had a productive discussion, but just days ago, you referred to President Trump as a despot who had betrayed the country. You said you'd be his worst nightmare and accused him of having a fascist agenda. Are you planning to retract any of these remarks in order to improve your relationship?
I think both President Trump and I, we are very clear about our positions and our views, and what I really appreciate about the president is that the meeting that we had focused not on places of disagreement, which there are many, and also focused on the shared purpose that we have in serving New Yorkers. And frankly, that is something that could transform the lives of the 8.5 million people who are currently struggling under a cost of living crisis, with 1 in 4 living in poverty.
Why is it so normal? I don't know.
To what it could look like to lift those New Yorkers
This
out of
is
struggle
crazy.
and start to deliver them a city that they could do more than just struggle to afford it, but actually start to live in it.
And I've been called much worse than a despot, so it's not that insulting. Maybe I think he'll change his mind after we get to working together. Yes, please.
Mr. President, Anthony Marshak from MTV Lebanon.
Oh my God!
I would like to ask you a question about the Middle East regarding you said that Hezbollah in Lebanon is not in a good position, and Lebanon now is the final unresolved after Gaza and Syria. Given your assessment, like what do you say for the Lebanese today? It's the Independence Day in Lebanon, and
that's where Hezbollah is.
Your next move to push toward disarmament, the disarmament of Hezbollah.
Well, we are pushing for total disarmament of Hamas and, frankly, everybody else. And we actually have peace in the Middle East. As you know, the King of Saudi Arabia just left yesterday. We had some great meetings, and he's made a contribution toward the United States of more than $1 trillion. We have now over $20 trillion coming in. No country has ever had anything like that, not even close. If you go to 2 trillion or 1 trillion, it's a lot. We have 20 or 21 trillion dollars. I think that Hezbollah has been a problem in Lebanon, big problem. We're working with Lebanon. We're working with everybody in the Middle East. That's another thing I think we have in common. We want to see peace in the Middle East, and we actually have now for the first time peace in the Middle East after 3,000 years. And now we're going to refine it, and I think you're going to see some very positive things happen.
There is a potential to invite the Lebanese president to meet you to the White House.
I would do that, absolutely. And if the mayor would like to be here for that meeting, because I know he feels very strongly. I think you feel very, very strongly about peace in the Middle East. I think
we desperately want it, and that's something that I shared with the president.
Oh my
when
God!
I spoke to
He invited him for that.
Voted for the president last November on Hillside Avenue and Fordham Road.
Wow!
I asked them why. I heard again and again two major reasons. One was that they wanted an end to forever wars. They wanted an end to the taxpayer dollars we had funding violations of human rights, and they wanted to address the cost of living crisis. And I appreciated the chance to discuss both of those things.
You said a lot of my voters actually voted for him, and I'm okay with that.
Oh my God!
Give it to me, I'll sign it in a minute. That's pretty good.
Mr. President, you've threatened to send federal troops to New York City.
Yeah.
You both have differences.
They're really
when it
trying to
comes
bait this,
ICE
huh?
Agents in New York City. Mr. Mamdani, you've called ICE a rogue government entity. I wonder how you reconcile your differences on both of those issues.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to work them out, and I think
We're gonna
that,
work it out. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Known murderers and known drug dealers and some very bad people. You know, we want to get them out. And the mayor wants to have peace. We discussed this at great length, actually, maybe more than anything else. He wants to have a safe New York. Ultimately, a safe New York is going to be a great New York. If it's not safe, no matter how well we do with pricing and with anything else, we can talk about anything you want. If you don't have safe streets, it's not going to be a success. So
yeah, of course.
We're going to work together. We're going to make sure that if there are horrible people there, we want to get them out. I think he wants to get them out maybe more than I do. So we'll work together. We discussed it at great length. Yes, please.
Yeah, two questions, if I may. One for you, Mr. President, on BBC in a second. But first of all, for the
BBC.
You're both from different parts of the political spectrum. You're both populists, though, and I just wonder to what extent the president's campaign style, his techniques, his social media use inspired any part of your
That's
campaign.
a good question.
Well, I actually told the president that, you know, so much of the focus of our campaign has been on the cost of living crisis. And when we asked those New Yorkers who voted for the president, when we saw an increase in his numbers in New York City, that came back to the same issue: cost of living, cost of living, cost of living. And they spoke about the cost of groceries, the cost of rent, the cost of Con Ed, the cost of childcare.
He's completely
and too
right.
often, politicians are looking to lecture to New Yorkers what they should care about, as opposed to listen. And when we spoke to those voters who voted for President Trump, we heard them speak about cost of living. We focus on that same cost of living, and that's where
Okay, I just gotta say it. The cost of living thing is probably gonna be circumvented by simply putting a bunch of billionaires on a first come first serve list, and that first come first serve list is just gonna have a bunch of people buy up a bunch of property that over time is gonna be guaranteed profits with an affordable housing contract that's gonna be able to scale in accordance to the local marketplace, and that local marketplace is gonna make it an affordable housing with scale, and therefore they're gonna be guaranteed interest over time to be able to get back their interest. And their interest and investment is going to be a long-term overtime investment through government. So it's going to be similar to like a bond or something like that. And it's going to be able to expand a lot more housing construction. So it's going to be a plan built out for a lot of billionaires and rich people to be able to sustain themselves. And it's going to be a plan. So it's going to be, if it were me, I would hit the corporate elite. So the very top people. And then I'll strike them and destroy them through a multifaceted attack with multi-billionaires alliances and allegiances, so that you can destroy any majority corporate from buying anything out, and having some of even business startup real estate people get in. So you can start having a huge network of affordable housing ownership that's intergenerational, guaranteed wealth, guaranteed monthly payments, because there's always going to be poor people, and it's going to sustain itself through that plan. That's why I think the communist plan is probably going to work. It's probably going to work very well, because the function of it as a whole is going to be fundamentally based on the whole aspect of working into capitalism, which is the bourgeoisie class, and that capitalism that it works into is going to be able to help people understand how exactly the plan working ahead is going to be able to help people. Which is, it's going to give you money, so it's going to feed the bourgeoisie, and it's going to be sustainable over time because it's going to be affordable housing for poor people. So it's going to be able to sustain itself as a whole.
I am really looking forward to delivering for New Yorkers in partnership with the president on the affordability agenda.
And I think we have to work a little bit. We talked about Con Edison. We have to work a little bit on getting the prices, because, you know, we've gotten fuel prices way down, but it hasn't shown up in Con Edison.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to talk to them. You know, if we're sending them fuel at a much lower price than it was a year ago, which is true, we have to get Con Edison to
actually, I hope he does
lowering
reduce
the
prices in
rates.
NYC. I want to see Mamdani succeed.
You told me you were for pushing ahead with your plans to sue the BBC for up to $5 billion.
Oh.
You're going to speak to Prime Minister Starmer as well. Is there any progress or any updates on those issues?
Well, we get along very well with the Prime Minister.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to see the city fail.
UK.
That's horrible.
Like him. He's a fine person, and I think they have some big energy problems. They've got windmills all over the place. They're going to have to start using other methods because their energy is out of control. Talking about in the UK, it's out of control, and he's got that problem. He's got a big immigration problem, as you know, and he's got a big energy problem. And we talk about it. He's a good man. Prime Minister's a good man.
You have a chance to speak this week.
I haven't spoken this week.
Have you spoken to President Zelensky, or do you intend to meet with him, President Zelensky, about your plan? Are you going to meet with him?
I've spoken with their people. We have a plan. It's horrible what's happening. It's a war that should have never happened. It would have never happened if I was president, and it's a shame. And I thought they should have acted quicker. But it's a cold winter, and a lot of the you talk about utilities, but a lot of the big energy producing plants have been under attack, to put it mildly.
Says it every time. It's the classic.
We have a way of getting peace, or we think we have a way of getting peace. He's going to have to approve it. Just so sad. So many people. Last month they lost 25,000 soldiers.
Wow.
This is something we haven't seen anything like this since the Second World War, and they're averaging 6,000 or 7,000 a week between the two of them, dead soldiers. And it goes on, and I think they're getting reasonably close. But I don't want to predict. I'm
worried Ukraine is going to run out of people, if you want me to be honest.
Peace deals of countries, including in India, Pakistan. You could even go, in fact, they're coming here in a week or two.
Yeah, it's bad.
Go to the Congo and Rwanda. That was 10 million people dead, and we worked something out on that. But so many. And the one I thought would have been, for me, because I have a very good relationship with President Putin, I thought that would have been maybe quicker.
But it did not happen.
It does take two to tango. And now you just see all the death. And, it doesn't affect us other than the fact that we don't want to see all those people dead. Really, it's on the other side of the ocean. It's a war that should have never happened. It did happen.
It did happen.
I blame the person also sitting right behind this desk. This is a war that should have never happened, and it wouldn't have happened if I were president. But we're trying to save a lot of lives. They're losing 25,000 lives over the last short period of time. That's Ukrainian and Russian, and it's a shame.
What happens if President? I want to ask the mayor-elect about a House resolution just passed overwhelmingly to condemn socialism, including with 86 Democrats, all of House Dem leadership.
What about
and
Social Security?
Leader, Hakeem Jeffries, despite his endorsement of
the snap.
What's your reaction to that?
I have to be honest with you, I focused very little on resolutions. Frankly, I've been focusing...
Condemn socialism.
I understand. I think the focus is on the work at hand. I can tell you I am someone who is a democratic...
Long live socialism, by the way. I'm a communist, so... The constant calls to condemn socialism as a whole is mainly attributed to what they call false applications of socialist discussion through faulty science of the agrarian age, which is the dependence of farming and stuff like that, and caused famine. The arrest of people and putting them in gulags and stuff like that is mainly attributed to like fascists and like white supremacists being arrested, and people that push for a lot more right-wing agendas, which is a lot more privatized and greedy exploitative behaviors. They all like to attribute that as a negative or evil thing that all ideologies will abide by, when in reality a majority of the communistic belief systems are based on education, healthcare, housing, establishing future jobs for people, and establishing a way to get people money so they're not committing crimes and impoverished entirely. So it's more of a scientifically imposed method with American characteristics, which allows it to integrate itself into workers' rights and people's rights. And of course, the separation as workers' rights is rights at the workplace, which allows you to get things like OSHA, but as well as equal pay or adequate pay in accordance to the net worth or net profits of which the business has, and as well as it allows you to have a lot more rights in voting about which direction the business will head in, since you're a part of the business as a whole. people's rights is reference to more people who are unemployed, disabled, or just everyday healthcare, things like that, that attribute to food or shelter, or things that help people as a whole get to live their life, which is why the majority of people as a whole are continuously fighting for the people's rights and workers' rights. Meanwhile, the attributes or the attachments of socialism or communism as a whole is attached to a book that was propagandized from a long time ago in order to establish, again, a negative narrative, which was, again, from the perspective of the right-wing fascist people or the people of bourgeoisie origin, which was used to push down the people and make them seem as though they were inadequate or stupid. And therefore, they were able to push the agenda that they were not worthy of ruling or governing. Therefore, the agenda of condemning socialism is a bourgeoisie or capitalistic perspective, where if you do not condemn the basic humanity in their perspective or morality of starving people or killing people, and some old school perspective of how communism was interpreted instead of the modernized scientific perspective, which is a more social safety net perspective and is more liberal and understanding of human rights, then it's going to be perverted by a bourgeoisie perspective. Once again, is the rich people or the people who own businesses. So of course no one logical would condemn socialism, because socialism as a whole is just a better program for rerouting taxes to the people and the working class.
Socialist, I've been very open about that, and I know there might be differences about ideology, but the place of agreement is the work that needs to be done to make New York City affordable. That's what I look forward to.
And I want to clarify your answer to Stephen Nelson.
Man.
He asked about your comment calling the president a fascist, and your answer was, both President Trump and I have been clear about our positions and our views. Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
Oh my God.
That's okay. You can just say yes. Okay. It's easier. It's easier than explaining.
Yeah, sure. Don't worry about it.
I wanted to ask you also about this Ukraine plan.
Yeah.
President Zelensky said today that his country would risk either giving up a partner or giving up its dignity.
Just say yes. It's fine.
There's
Don't
been
worry about it.
criticism that this deal proposal.
He doesn't like it?
It's unclear. He was sort of tenuous about
He'll
it.
have to like it, and if he doesn't like it, then, they should just keep fighting, I guess.
The suggestion that he made, though, was that if he doesn't accept it, that the U.S. would pull back its support for Ukraine.
This is better than I thought it was going to be.
He's going to have to accept something. He hasn't accepted. You remember right in the Oval Office not so long ago, I said, you don't have the cards. Don't forget, I inherited this war. This war never would have happened. I inherited this war.
Oh my
and
God.
I thought he should have made a deal a year ago, 2 years ago. The ultimate deal would have been if it never started. That would have been the good deal. That could have been done too if you had the right president, but you didn't have the right president.
Mr. President, the cost of living is something that you and Mr. Mamdani seem to agree on. Democrats have run New York City for a long time, Mr. Mamdani. Do you see Democrat policy specifically as being a problem? And I'd like that be a question that
Republican and Democrat policies are a problem.
I think that there are many things in our city where we have to own the responsibility of it, things that existed long before the president was the president. And those are also part of the message of our campaign, was to take on the broken politics of the past. And I ran against a number of candidates who represented different versions of that past. And what we found time and again is that working people were left behind in the politics of our city. And what we're looking to do is put those people right back at the heart of our politics, so that we don't have a situation where we're in the wealthiest city in the history of the world, and yet 1 in 5 can't even afford $2.90 for a Metro card.
It's ridiculous.
We had some interesting conversation, and some of his ideas really are the same ideas that I have. But a big thing on cost, the new word is affordability. Another word is just groceries. It's sort of an old-fashioned word, but it's very accurate. And they're coming down high. They were, we had, both of us, we had the highest inflation in the history of our country the last 4 years. Under
only the best ones? Yeah, of course.
And we've got inflation down now to a normal number. It's going to go even a little bit lower than that. Katie, do you have something?
Mr. President, thank you so much. Mr. Mamdani often talks about New York City being covered by international law, that they will follow international law. Doesn't often talk about the U.S. Constitution.
This is why everybody hates the media, by the way.
Well, I don't know what you're referring to in terms it can be covered by international law, local law. It's covered by a lot of laws. And,
this is why everybody hates them.
It's covered by U.S. law. Are you referring to anything in particular?
He just says that they're a city that endorses and enforces international law. Is that at odds with U.S.
I don't
law?
know. Would you want to respond to that?
Yeah, I think what I've shared with the president is our desire to not only follow the laws of our own city, laws that protect New Yorkers, but also a desire for consistency in our politics across the board. And that's something that we've talked about and something that I know many New Yorkers want.
Man.
We work with ICE then?
We discussed ICE and New York City, and I spoke about how the laws that we have in New York City allow for New York City government to speak to the federal administration for about 170 serious crimes. The concerns that many New Yorkers have are around the enforcement of immigration laws on New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs, and most recently,
just get the criminals out.
Mother and her 2 children.
Just do that.
This has very little to do with what that is.
Mr. Mamdani,
What we did is we discussed crime more than
Yeah.
ICE per se. We discuss crime, and
That's the
he doesn't
problem.
want to see crime, and I don't want to see crime, and I have very little doubt that we're not going to get along on that issue. He wants to, and he said some things that were very interesting as to housing construction, and he wants to see houses go up. He wants to see a lot of houses created.
That's what they need to do. He's right.
Apartments built,
Smart.
etc. And you know, we actually people would be shocked. But I want to see the same thing.
Mr. Mamdani, anti-Israel protesters.
Jack?
Yeah, Mr. President, I wanted to know one of the policies as well that Mayor-elect Mamdani talked a number of times about on the campaign.
Which one?
Was shifting the tax burden for property taxes from what he called minority communities to white-based communities.
Oh, yeah, that was
putting more
stupid.
taxes on white people. I also noticed that in your acceptance speech you didn't mention anything about America or white people in general, and so I didn't know if that was one of the policies that you guys had spoken about.
We focused on affordability. We focused on the cost of living crisis. What I will say is that I am very much interested in property tax reform, because what we see right now in New York City is a system that is so inequitable that it can't even stand up in court. And the president and I spoke about the importance of not only building more housing, but also making sure that regulation of housing is something that is manageable to actually get through, and not the cause of yet another weight that we see in our
But to
city.
be clear, you're continuing this idea of race-based property taxes.
No, to be very clear,
That's what you said.
no, the use of the term was a description of neighborhoods, not a description of intent.
So you intend to tax the whiter neighborhoods more?
That's
We
what he
intend to
just
create
said
a
he
fair
didn't
property
do.
tax system, because we want a New York City that is not only fair and equitable, but also one that every New Yorker can afford.
Mr. Mamdani,
I mean, he shouldn't have said that, but still.
Please, God.
Mr. Mamdani, anti-Israel protesters.
He just said no.
A synagogue in New York. Are you concerned about Jewish New Yorkers feeling welcome and safe in the city? And President Trump, you've threatened to cut off federal funding to New York City. What policies would prompt you to do that? Would that be city-run grocery stores? Would it be something else?
Well, I think if we didn't get along, whether it's cut off or just make it a little bit difficult or not give as much, we want to see, I use the term, we don't want good money going after bad. And we don't want that to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I did say that, you know, subject to what policies are being said. We had a meeting today that actually surprised me. He wants to see no crime. He wants to see housing being built. He wants to see rents coming down, all things that I agree with.
Yeah.
Now, we may disagree how we get there. The rent coming down, I think one of the things I really gleaned very...
Press won't stop until they hate each other?
Today,
Exactly.
We'd like to see him come down, ideally, by building a lot of additional housing.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate way. He agrees with that, and so do I. But if I read the newspapers and the stories, I don't hear that. But I heard him say it today, and I think that's a very positive step. No, I don't expect.
Of course.
I expect to be helping him, not hurting him. A big help, because I want New York City to be great. Look, I love New York City. It's where I come from. I spent a lot of years there. Now I'm right here. We took a big setback with the mayor that we had, Dave de Blasio. I thought it was a tremendous setback for the city. I think this mayor can do some things that are going to be really great.
Mr. President, Mr. President.
Wow.
Mr. President,
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. You're a billionaire. You have a different address nowadays than you used to, but you used to call New York City home. Would you feel comfortable living in New York City under a Mamdani administration?
Yeah, I would. I really would. Especially after the meeting.
Man.
Absolutely.
What makes you comfortable?
We agree on a lot more than I would have thought.
Exactly.
Fucking
exactly.
And we'll help him.
Holy shit.
You know, he may have different views. But in many ways, we were discussing when Bernie Sanders was out of the race, I picked up a lot of his votes, and people had no idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he was strong on not getting ripped off in trade and lots of the things that I've practiced and been very successful on. Tariffs, a lot of things. Bernie Sanders and I agreed on much more than people thought. And when he was put out of the race, I think quite unfairly, if you want to know the truth, many of the Bernie Sanders voters voted for me. And I
was one of them.
Very comfortable, frankly, in seeing that and saying that. And, it just turned out to be a statistical truth. But, no, I feel very comfortable.
Yeah.
I would feel very, very comfortable being in New York, and I think much more so after the meeting. Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a question for you, but a very quick one for the mayor. Why did you fly here? Aren't trains greener?
I'll use every form of transit, and I want to make sure that they're all affordable in New York City, and that's why making buses fast and free is a centerpiece of our campaign.
There is a bus that goes.
Well, but I know, but if he flew, that's a lot quicker too. He's working very hard. For him to be, that's a very long drive. I'll stick up for you. The plane takes you 30 minutes, and driving takes you a long
Mr.
time.
President, I was wondering if you could clear up
what a stupid bitch
around a Washington Post report. There was this explosive report that the Coast Guard is no longer going to characterize swastikas and nooses as hate symbols.
Oh
DHS
my!
Called that a lie and fake news. Can you?
Asmongold's doing a pretty good job of pointing out a lot of these reporters are just bullshit. Just saying.
Get this bitch out of here.
When was this written?
Get this.
Yesterday.
Well, look, the Coast Guard's an incredible group of people. I know them very well.
That's not even true, by the way.
A lot of new Coast Guard cutters.
It's made up.
Beautiful, the most magnificent.
They even came out and said it was made up.
Lots of guns on them. So I don't know. I haven't seen any report like that, but certainly we want them to remain a great force, and they are.
You are a peacemaker, and you did a peace in all the 9 months around the world. I would like to ask Mr. Mamdani, you've accused the U.S. government of committing genocide in Gaza while President Trump was working on peace. Why that?
I've spoken about the Israeli government committing genocide, and I've spoken about our government funding it. And I shared with the president in our meeting about the concern that many New Yorkers have of wanting their tax dollars to go towards the benefit of New Yorkers and their ability to afford basic dignity.
He's right.
What we see right now is we're in the 9th consecutive year of more than 100,000 school children being homeless in our city. And there's a desperate need not only for the following of human rights, but also the following through on the promises we've made New Yorkers. And I appreciated the meeting we had and the work that we can do.
Do you agree that President Trump did do a peace and he worked hard to make the peace? Because he worked hard to do the peace in the Middle East and everywhere. Do you agree with that?
I appreciate all efforts towards peace, and I shared with President Trump that when I spoke to Trump voters on Hillside Avenue, including one of whom was a pharmacist that spoke about how President Trump's father actually went to that pharmacy not too far from Jamaica Estates, that people were tired of seeing our tax dollars fund endless wars. And I also believe that we have to follow through on the international human rights, and I know that still today those are being violated, and that
they're trying to clip so hard.
Has to be
it's
done,
nuts.
no matter where we're speaking of.
Mr. President, question for Mr. Thank you, Mr. President. Do you view the mayor-elect as the true leader of the Democrat Party, and do you think Leader Schumer's and Leader Jeffries, have to have?
Well, look, I hope they have great leaders. This is a man that right now I think is focused in New York City. I really think he has a chance to do a great job. We're going to help him, but I really think he has a chance to do a great job. But I'll let you answer that. You consider yourself the leader of the Democrats? I think it's more appropriate for him.
Man.
I consider myself the next mayor of New York City, and I keep my horizons firmly on New York City, and I appreciate the meeting with the president, which focused again on the 5 boroughs.
They're farming so hard,
to live there.
By the way, being the mayor of New York City is a big deal.
Absolutely.
I always said, one of the things I would love to be someday is the mayor of New York City. Being the mayor of New York, and especially now, because I think you're at really a turning point, one way or the other. It could go great, or it can go in a different direction, and I think you really have a chance to make it great.
Yeah, true.
You say you love New York City.
Ominous different direction. Interesting. This is kind of like a friendly hello.
Mr. Mamdani, does New York City love President Trump?
New York City loves a future that is affordable. And I can tell you that there were more New Yorkers who voted for President Trump in the most recent presidential election because of that focus on cost of living. And I'm looking forward to working together to deliver.
I don't think anybody expected this.
I got a lot of votes. One more. Go ahead. 1 or 2 more. Go ahead. I tell you, the press has eaten this thing up. You know, I've had a lot of meetings with the heads of major countries. Nobody cared.
Yeah.
This meeting that you people have gone crazy. You know, outside you have hundreds of people waiting. This is just a small little group. For some reason, the press has found this to be a very interesting meeting. The biggest people in the world, they come over from countries nobody cares. But they did care about this meeting, and it was a great meeting. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. President, I was going to ask you exactly that. Why do you think there's so much more, so much excitement around this than even some foreign leaders?
Because I think he's different. All right, I think he's different, and that can be in a very positive way. But I think he's different than, your typical guy runs, wins, becomes mayor maybe, and nothing exciting. Because he has a chance to really do something great for New York. New York is at a very critical point, and he does need the help of the federal government to really succeed, and we're going to be helping him. But he's different than your average candidate. He came out of nowhere. I said he has a great campaign manager standing over there. He came out of nowhere. Would you start off at 1 or 2, and then I watched. I said, "Who is this guy?" He was at 1. Then he was at 3, then he was at 5, then he was at 9. Then he went up to 17. I said, that's getting a little bit interesting, right? And then all of a sudden he wins a primary that nobody expected he was going to win. It's a great...
It was that Israel question, bro.
Great
That's
tribute.
what it was.
I mean, it's an amazing thing that he did.
And I'll just add one thing to what the president said. Is one thing I also appreciated is in our meeting to appreciate a portrait of FDR and the incredible work that was done with the New Deal, and also in thinking about what it can look like when the federal government and New York City government work together to deliver on affordability. It can be transformative.
You know, we have a great portrait of FDR that I found in the vaults that was missing for years. I found it, and I put it up. He's a Democrat, to the best of my knowledge. He's a Democrat. And when the mayor saw that portrait, he said, "Sir, do you mind if I have a picture taken by that portrait?" It's an amazing portrait. I hope the picture comes out good.
FDR, by the way, had a council behind him of black people advising him, which is why Zoran looks up to him, because he had a council of black people. And it's kind of like an insight of cultural beliefs in the beginning of understanding what it means to be a multicultural society. So he really innovated a lot of accomplishments.
But it's an amazing portrait in the cabinet room.
He found it.
So he's a big fan of the New Deal, I guess, and of FDR. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. President. You said that you both spoke about crime. There are many police officers set to come off the rolls at the end of this year in New York City. Are you going to allow those police to be replaced with police officers, actual cops? And are you going to require that that happens? Would there be some consequence if the
Well, I hope
staff...
it happens, but again, that's going to be ultimately the mayor's decision.
What's your answer?
Is that I look forward to delivering public safety with the NYPD, and I've said over the course of our campaign that we have the number of police officers today. They are the ones that's budgeted about 35,000 headcount. And I think the key thing is that we have to make it easier for police to focus on police work, not ask them to respond to 200,000 mental health calls a year.
So is that a reduction from what you're at right now? Are you committing to maintaining the same level of cops?
I've committed over the course of the campaign to maintain the 35,000. That's the headcount that we had through the campaign.
And not replace them with caseworkers, social workers?
No, I've said that's the headcount that we want. What we need to do is make sure they can focus on serious crime.
And he just retained a great police commissioner, I believe, right?
Yes.
I hate this Karen so much. I think they shouldn't let her back. They should never let her back.
Somebody that is she's a good friend of some
what a
of
useless
the people in my
bitch.
family, of Ivanka, and they say she's really
Oh my God.
competent, and he just retained her, so that's a good sign.
Are there still topics that you see the two of you disagreeing on in the future? And do you think you'll have more meetings like this?
There will be topics that we disagree on. I think we'll probably come to a conclusion, and ultimately he'll convince me, or I'll convince him. You know, it's for the good of New York. Ultimately, it's for the good of New York. I don't care about affiliations or parties or anything else. I want to see if this city could be unbelievable, if he could be a spectacular success, I'd be very happy.
Do you think you guys will meet more in the future too?
Too?
Do you think you'll meet again in the future, throughout the administration?
I think
obviously.
I think we. I hope we do. I enjoyed the meeting. We had a great meeting. Please.
Mr. President, Republican Elise Stefanik has campaigned multiple times by calling Zoran Mamdani a jihadist. Do you think you're standing next to a jihadist right now in the Oval Office?
No, I don't. But she's out there campaigning, and
people are going to say what they're going to say.
Sometimes in a campaign.
Yeah.
Isn't that sort of
She's a very capable person. But you really have to ask her about that. But no, I don't particularly. I think I met with I met with a man who's a very rational person. I met with a man who really wants to see New York be great again. And I can say again, because New York was great. You know, when I came down to Washington initially, the city was so hot. It was doing great. We were
get all the women out of there.
Signs of problems. We had a mayor that was not doing a great job. But
I read that one from chat. Okay, I didn't say that.
And it went bad. It really went, pretty bad. And he can.
That wasn't me. I didn't say that.
It went pretty bad. I think he can bring it back. Now the question is, will he bring it back all the way? Will he bring it back greater than ever before? Which is, I guarantee, that's his wish. I think he wants to make it greater than ever before. And if he can, we'll be out there cheering. I'll be cheering for him. Okay? Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. You chose not to answer the question about the synagogue protest.
Thank you very much.
Man, you don't hate the media enough. You really don't. Oh my God. That was amazing. That was great. I hate them so much. Aren't they awful? Aren't they terrible? Holy shit. We didn't get a single question about anything that mattered. It was like, well, what about this thing that you said? Listen, people say bullshit whenever they're campaigning all of the time. It happens constantly. So, no, they're not going to go back and do this. It's just, this is unreal. Now, if I was going to rate this, I think this was a 10 out of 10. I really do. I think this really realistically could not have gone better. This was the best possible outcome. Everybody was reasonable. Everybody got along. There were no problems. There was a shared goal that was the betterment of the citizens, with the media constantly trying to sideline it, bring in identity politics, bring in some other bullshit. Yep, there you go. As the Pope of journalism, can't you excommunicate them? I wish I could. They didn't even ask about policy or what good they'll do for New York. No, they didn't ask about any of that. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. No, the fact is that Mamdani, remember I said this before. I said this. People didn't like to hear this, but like I said he did a lot of the same things. He has a lot of the same values that Trump has, right? Is it like the affordability, get the fuck, like get away from Israel, get away from this other shit, focus only on America and only on New York? I think it's true. I do. And so it's that simple. I think they're both trolling. Yes. And also, you're right. They do say things on the campaign trail in order to get people going. They do. It's so obvious. Everybody knows this. People need to listen to Bill Maher about Trump behind closed doors. He's not the same guy. He's very reasonable. Yeah, I don't know why Trump does this, but apparently behind closed doors, he's normal, and he gets on camera and he turns into a fucking buffoon. This is what happens. I don't know why, but that's the strategy. And so there you go, guys. And yeah, can't we just get along? Yes, exactly. The fact is, in person, you can have normal conversations. Exactly. It's not a big deal. Trump truly wants him to succeed. Very presidential, mature from Trump. Yeah, this was, I think, a great meeting. And I think it made both of them look better. It's very positive. Like, if you're a New York citizen,
I think he has a proper viewpoint on this. Mamdani's perspective is pretty simple. He's going to take the bottom line while everyone else is arguing on the fluff up top. So the bottom line is going to be things like healthcare, housing, education, future of all the communistic beliefs as a whole through food and all that bullshit. Pretty much using all of that, because if both of them are arguing, Democrats and liberals say freeze rent, no money for the rich, and they're trying to say free housing, then the Communist Party is going to come in and say affordable housing, because affordable housing hits with the Republican Party. And through hitting that through the Republican Party, they're able to hit angles of which they're going to hit through actual progress through the housing units, which is why the housing units as a whole are going to be paid for probably by privatized business investments, but they're going to be offset by a bunch of contracts by the government that makes it a mandatory loan. And therefore mandatory loans mean it will always be in the hands and the property of privatization or nationalization of some of the property, so that it's mandatory affordable housing units, kind of like commercial block housing. they have now residential housing, and now they have this residential affordable housing unit, and this will be able to keep it mandatory so that even if new people sell off the properties as investments, it can be maintained to some degree so that people don't flip it constantly and they have like a multi-million-dollar inflation percentage on it and it's impossible to buy back. But it's going to be something that's going to be maintained and managed so that it's more affordable for people, and the intergenerational wealth can start. So I believe that method of maintaining a bottom line. So once again, if government shuts down and we get no EBT, communists will come in and say we need food always, no matter what. You guys can argue about this other stuff that doesn't affect the people. And they'll come in and take the EBT and food mandatory out of that. So when it shuts down, it doesn't screw over the people and their government benefits. So they're going to be fighting for something that's always there for the people, always there for the working class, while the other people are going to be fighting for like gay rights, or they're going to be fighting for tax cuts. They're going to be fighting for something big on the top. Everything on the bottom that everyone forgets about, which is the progress of the country, is going to slow roll out, and as it slow rolls out, people are going to get their rights and things are going to progress in their benefit. So it's for the most part a mindset of making sure everything gets done no matter what as a progress.
Would feel a lot better now than I did before this. I'll tell you that for sure. Game recognized game. Yeah, I think Trump respects what Mandami's done. I think Mandami to some degree respects where Trump is too. Like, you don't have to agree with somebody on everything to respect the position that they've been able to establish for themselves and see that, you know, they're competent in what they're doing. So, yeah, I think it's a good idea. And let me see here. I'll see if there's any more of this. Now, are people going to be mad about this thing? I think that they will be. I absolutely think so. Let me see. Let me see what happened. Bill Nair nailed exactly what happened today. Yeah, this is amazing. Kudos to Trump and Mandami for coming together. We need more of this. Piers is completely right. 100% right. Let's read some of the comments on this. Yep, there we go. Agreed. Crazy socialists met with them, but the Democrats won't. Yeah, because it's again, it's bigger than you, man. It's bigger than you. You didn't get voted in to fucking go out and make tweets. Like, that's your job. Tell my wife that doesn't like Trump and likes Zoran that they're both boys and she got mad. Well, they're going to get along because they have to. Like, that's what welcome to real life. This is the problem that a lot of people on the internet don't understand, is that in real life, you're going to come up with people and you're going to have to deal with people that don't agree with you on everything. I know it's hard. It's bad. It's rough. You've got to deal. Geez. Okay. Now I have to be around a person that I don't like. Oh my God. No, it's not called politics. It's called life. Like, really, that's the way it is. But the problem is that everybody on the internet is so hyper radicalized. And by the way, if somebody's on the internet all day, there's probably a reason for that. It's because nobody wants to be around them in real life. That's it. Yeah, in 30 minutes, there'll be a 6 front page Reddits about Trump admitting that he's a fascist. Yeah, it's not even worth taking seriously. I think, honestly, like, Trump saying that is the best response. It's stupid. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares. It's just bullshit, right? And that's it. There you go. Yeah, exactly. The unemployed, speaking from experience. Exactly. Yeah, it's so fucking ridiculous. There he is. Wow. Beating Trump off Phil Ford's a sour power move. What is this here? I don't even know. And why not just take the train? Also first class. Such a man of the people. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. What about... Jesus Christ, guys. I think he's a little bit different. We'll get along fine. Yeah, there we go, guys. Wow, it's crazy. Anyone else have a bad feeling about this? Well, Molly, how about that, huh? You dumb bitch. The Mandami arrives at the White House for talks with Trump. Yep, there it is. And Trump restrained the eyes. It's going to be quite civil. Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. And planes are sometimes less expensive than trains where I live, so it's an economical choice. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's the mayor. Like, if you are a head of state, you should be trying to get to where you need to go as fast as possible, because your job is transcending you as an individual. Like, you are representing something. You're doing like I get it. Like, if you want to criticize Taylor Swift or somebody like that, that's fine. But you're a head of state. Like, you're doing that. What the fuck was that? Well, I have no even idea. That's just some other bullshit, right? And where the fuck did it go? But yeah, it's just common sense. And I don't know what to say. Left is so disappointed. The media's cooked. Of course it is. Yeah, it's completely fucking cooked. Funniest president ever. Are you affirming that President Trump is a fascist? That's okay. You can just say yes. It's easier in explaining it. I don't mind. This was crazy.
Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay, you can just say yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
Are you...
Fuck him. Fuck him, bro. Yeah. And base, whatever, fucking incredible.
Not gonna lie, that's a pretty cool moment. I could tell they're pretty vibey back there, talking, chilling.
Yeah, this is the kind of energy that I think Americans want to see. I don't know about you guys, but at the end of the day, we're gonna have to live with these people, right? We are. We're gonna have to live with them. We have to deal with them. And so if you can get along with these people and find common ground and find ways to work with them, then that's 1,000 times better than being goaded into these fake problems by the media and divided over nothing. Divided over... You can't? I don't know. I think you can get along. Most people can get along. I do. I think most people can get along. Better than the alternative? Yes, exactly. These people who? People that are socialists, people that you think are fascists, people that you think are communists, people that you think are racist. You're at the end of the day, these people are still going to be your neighbors. They're still going to vote. They're still going to be in the same country you're in. You're going to have to deal with them. And if you can't do that, you've got a big problem. And that's it. When the media asked about Zelensky, Trump said who? I think he just didn't hear it.
So that's cool. He respects ecosystems, and people are going to inevitably get together to fight for basic rights and things that people want to be represented in the economy and as well as the community. So it makes a lot of sense why people are pushing for this.
If you want me to be honest. So yeah. And the House is not the same when they were Trump and Newsom met face to face. They go back to trolling and arguing with each other. Yeah, of course. Yeah, the most cool-headed and best outcome we could have had. Yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, I'm very, very happy to see this. You feel comfortable? Yes, I really would. That's good. Yeah, there we go. I feel confident Mandami can do a good job. Yep, there it is. Wow. Well, oh, geez. Trump supports, quote, communism. It's just, these people are, they're such rats. This is insane how big of rats they are. Oh my fucking God. Trump is, they're trying to farm so hard. They are trying so ridiculously fucking hard for this. Yeah, and also, by the way, I want to say that, do you remember whenever I was like relatively positive about Mandami, I thought like, okay, well, you know, I don't agree with like some of these things that he said, but I don't think it's going to be as bad as people think it's going to be. Well, here we are. I was right. I was right again. Everybody was mad at me, but I was right. If anything, Mandami converting Trump to liking him shows why he won the mayoral race. Well, I think that really Trump, I mean, this is the same with a lot of people like this, is that you can respect somebody who is a winner, right? You can respect somebody who, you know, uses their position and uses their resources in order to leverage a victory. Even if you might not necessarily agree with that person, you can respect the ability of a person to convert their behavior into an outcome that is beneficial for themselves, right? And so that's it. If New York City goes well, it looks good for Trump now. Yeah, and that would be good. I mean, I would want that to happen. Sure. Do media paying their rent by farming clips that are clipped out of context? You want to talk about the biggest transition of wealth in the media? That's it. Is it still 80-20 or has the needle moved? I mean, I don't know. I feel like with a lot of the social issues and like social politics issues, I kind of disagree with them on. Like, for example, like, you know, like state-funded gender transitions, stuff like that, being against ICE. I think that's silly. It's stupid. But in terms of like economic stuff, I agree with it. Outside of like the free bus passes, I even agree with the free bus pass thing, but I just don't agree on why. Like, I don't like the idea that like, oh, well, because people commit crimes, now we have to just let them have it for free. Like, that seems like a very, very bad precedent to set. But it's weird because I agree with free buses. I just don't agree with why they're free. So it's like at that point, like, I feel like you can find common ground with a person that thinks that, right? I mean, very obviously. So yeah, good luck against ICE, as we've seen. Yeah, I mean, sure, it's going to be, it's probably going to continue going on. Everyone wants New York City to succeed. Yes, of course. And yeah, real question: have you beat Tianying and Wuthering Waves? No, bro. I got to the third phase, and I did one attempt, and I quit. I was like, okay, I'm out, bro. Like that's it. I'm done. So yeah, I'm not trying to be annoying, but you've had an opinion on everything. The chance you're right is probably close to 50-50 on each topic. Maybe you're right. I mean, I'd have to go back and check. But you know, again, like that was always my opinion, because the first video that I made about Mandami, I was relatively positive about him, and I thought that basically he is what the Democrats deserve. He is, for better and for worse, because at the end of the day, the Democrats are not really representing average Americans anymore. They don't. So yeah, they don't represent average Americans. I think that the majority of Democrat issues are completely fucking poisoned by identity politics. I don't think that most people care about this, and Son will crash out badly. I think that really, I mean, at the end of the day, anybody who's getting mad about this meeting is an enemy of the United States. That's generally what my opinion is. Because you don't want to see the country do well. You don't want to see success. You don't want to see any sort of, like understanding. You want to see people get mad. You want to farm drama. You want to get clicks on videos and stuff like that. You don't actually care about anything other than furthering drama and making people mad. I'll take, bro. I don't want dealings with foreign socialists. Too bad. They got voted in. You got to deal with it. That's what happened. You don't want to have that happen? Change the rules. Deport the people that voted for him. Fine. Too bad. It happened. Is right. Yeah, exactly. I'm sure. Do you think that he wants to deal with Donald Trump? No, he doesn't. But he does. Because that's what you do. It's common sense. What's your opinion on Russia versus Ukraine peace deal? I think Ukraine's going to have to give up part of their territory. I think it's inevitable, and I don't think it's fair. I think it's completely unfair. Ukraine shouldn't have to give up anything, but Russia just has nuclear weapons, and they're more powerful, and I think that Ukraine will be forced into having to give up part of their territory. Yeah, and I don't think Putin can walk away from the Russia conflict and the war without having something, because it will make him look weak as a leader in his own state. And
something like Ukraine and Russia is Russia just has no reason to capitulate. They can take it all. They're on the winning side. They're winning through logistics. They're winning through trade. They're winning through dominance of killing the most people. They might be losing more people as a whole because it's an offensive, but for the most part, they're not under any obligation to really take a peace deal, which is why a lot of them are just pushing forward. Anything they take as a peace deal is a capitulation, and again, they don't need to. They're just winning.
Like in his own country. So like he has to walk away with something. He can't come out of this empty-handed. Russia's winning lately? Yeah, they have to see. Well, I'm just saying, like, life isn't fair. Yeah, he can't lose face. Yeah, Putin cannot lose face in the war. He is weak. I'm not. That's fine. I'm just giving you like my opinion. What do you think is going to happen? I gave you my opinion on what I think is going to happen. So yeah. Russia won't use nukes on a bordering country. I don't think that they will either, but you're probably not going to have anything else happen as well. I'd rather fight to make the future of Europe insecure globally on top of the immigration prices. Well, I don't know. That's what I think is going to happen. So I think Ukraine will eventually give up their territories. That's probably what's going to happen. As a New Yorker, I think he's terrible for New York, but I still want New York to do well. Yeah, I mean, I'm concerned about it too. Like, I don't think that a lot of the things that Mandami says that he was going to do are going to happen, if you want me to be honest, because a mayor just simply doesn't have that much power. But at the same time, I do think that maybe a couple of them might happen, right? And I think that things will not change as dramatically as people might think that they will. So yeah. Ukraine will be forced to cede land to Russia, already claimed parts of Ukraine. It would look like a loss otherwise. Yes, exactly. And so Trump does, though? Well, I don't know. You should feel better now a little? Yeah, but I think this meeting was great. That's generally, yeah, do you think President Trump's still fascist? That's okay. You can just say yes. Yeah, there it is. And, wow, Trump is not defending Mandami in response to loaded questions from Fox News, incredible scenes. Yeah, I mean, of course, right? And holy fuck, man. Wow. Trump being nicer to Mandami than Democrat leadership was LOL. Well, yeah, that's because he's closer to Mandami than Democrat leadership. Democrat leadership are clowns. Like, they're literal fucking retards. So yeah, that's it. And this is it. Just Zoran Mandami does a complete media 180 just a day before a meeting with Trump. What do you want him? What do you want him to do? Do you want him to try to like get in a fight at the? Really? Like, what's your goal? Oh my God, this is nuts. Bernie was the reason why Trump won. Well, I don't know. It's the same situation with Trump. You may hate or dislike Trump's, but you should obviously want the president of the United States to do well. Yeah, I said the same thing about Joe Biden. It's obvious, right? But, oh my fucking God. Mandami is toast and he knows it. His promises aren't looking good right now. Jesus Christ. We have to get rid of democracy. We have to do it. I know it doesn't sound good. I know you might want to hear it. It's like, well, you know, it could be a good thing. It's not. Okay, it's not.
I think he's gonna slowly come over to communism. He's getting there because he's getting sick of it. But the problem is he has like a super authoritarian perspective of just arrest everyone. So you know what I'm saying.
Like, how much longer are we gonna have to do this until we realize it?
That's pretty cool. That was a fun react. He's had a pretty positive react. A lot of capitalists and right wingers are taking good reaction to all this. So pretty cool.